We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world.
Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Maniac of New York issue 5. This is from AfterShock Comics in 2021, written by Elliott Kalan, Andrea Mutti, artist and colorist, Taylor Esposito, letterer. I have the main cover by Andrea Mutti, edited by Mike Martz. Cover's okay, doesn't really tell you anything, but get used to that. The girl from the train is reliving the experience in her nightmares, and she keeps seeing Harry kill people, and she's having these awful nightmares. Meanwhile, her grandmother consoles her a little bit while watching this evil right-winger on the news. Oh, right-wingers. And Sean Hannity pastiche yells at the lady in charge of the task force, of course. Meanwhile, Greene has to face off with her critics and take the heat for something that she knows she was not actually responsible for. Also, she can get to stopping Harry. Zelda's sort of in the same boat. She got kind of a promotion, I guess, but she turns down a drink, which is pretty shocking to everyone, and she's still hated as a snitch, and the mayor is still obsessed with his automated train. Meanwhile, the writer is working on a sequel book, and it's gonna be about the death train. Shocker. Well, the girl's still having nightmares as the issue progresses, and she tries to call the task force but gets busted by grandma, and we get kind of a stereotypical movie ending that's gonna lead into the next series. So there is gonna be a follow-up in 2022 called Maniac of New York, The Bronx is Burning, and that should be interesting. This was a pretty weak issue on its own. I was actually very disappointed with it, but it makes sense in a franchise sort of way, like you would expect from, I don't know, a Friday the 13th movie, sort of like what this is a knockoff of. But if you read it as a graphic novel or a trade paperback, it'll make way more sense. But as an individual issue, it was pretty disappointing. Now, I thought they would wrap the miniseries up and leave it as a standalone, but they're gonna franchise this out for at least another miniseries. If they're smart, they won't drag this premise out too far with this particular scenario and maybe have another Maniac in a third miniseries, but they'll want to wrap up this storyline, I think, in the next miniseries, or the premise will have run too thin. So if you just pick up this issue, it's going to be very disappointing, but if you read all the issues together as a trade paperback or as if it was a graphic novel, you'll probably like it a lot better. It does have that horror movie feel, even if it is a knockoff of Jason Takes Manhattan. It's a pretty interesting take on that scenario. So I did like that overall, and they do give hints as to what might be going on, especially last issue, but obviously they want to explore that some more in a subsequent miniseries, so be aware of that. But I will recommend this if you pick it up in trade paperback. Individual issues will leave you wanting. It was fine up until this issue, and it just sort of derails, and they obviously decided they needed to milk this premise a little more when they didn't have to. So hopefully they'll wrap it up next miniseries and move on from there into like who created Harry, how that came about. The story of the camp would be a good third one, so we could see how Greene got to be who she was in a flashback miniseries. That'd be cool, but I don't think they could take the Harry Maniac of New York storyline too far, because it'll get tiresome real fast, and you're gonna see sales plummet. But nobody listens to me, so I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they're gonna milk this for all it's worth. But like I said, I'll give it a chance on the new miniseries, but anything past that better be a new storyline and not just the same thing with Maniac of New York. So we'll see how it goes. Until then, this is a recommend in graphic novel or trade paperback, but not as an individual issue. It's very disappointing that way. That'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, share the video around on your social media, buy yourself something nice from the Teespring store, or you can support me financially with a one-time donation through Streamlabs, which accepts PayPal, or monthly on Patreon. All those links are in the description, and as always, we hope to see you on the next one.